There comes a moment in life when the weight of your struggles feels too much to bear. You've tried everything, pushed yourself to the brink, only to find that the world seems to push back harder. It's as if every attempt to rise is met with even greater challenges, every plan crumbling under the pressure. But in the silence of your darkest hour, something powerful happens. A voice deep within whispers, not in words, but in the way you feel, that you're not broken, you're evolving. It's in these very moments of doubt that your transformation begins. The pain isn't the end, it's the beginning of something much greater. You've been there, haven't you? Staring at a mountain, wondering how you'll ever climb it. It feels like life has a way of piling up, one thing after another, until you're frozen, unable to move. Every attempt you make to move forward feels pointless. The weight of the world presses down on you, and the uncertainty of how to even begin paralyzes you. You can't see the end. You don't know where to start, and so you stand still, waiting for the perfect plan, the perfect moment, or the perfect answer to appear. But here's the truth that no one tells you. You don't need a grand plan. You don't need to see the entire staircase to take that first step. What you need is to move. Just move. When life becomes overwhelming, it's easy to think that you need to have everything figured out, that you need a clear path before you even start. It feels like if you don't have a perfectly laid out plan, you're destined to fail. The idea of jumping into the unknown, unsure of what will come next, holds you back. I want you to hear me clearly. You don't need the whole journey mapped out to begin walking. The first step, that's all you need. The smallest movement forward is enough to break through the weight that keeps you stuck. And once you take that first step, it leads to another, and then another. You begin to see that the mountain in front of you is not as tall as you thought. It's just made up of small steps that, when taken, will get you to the top. You might think that you need a huge leap, a big, dramatic shift. But in reality, it's the little steps that make all the difference. It's easy to freeze when you don't know exactly what to do. But the smallest step is a victory in itself. You don't need the whole path. You just need the courage to take that first, simple move forward. Think about it. Every major change in your life started with one small step. The first decision you made to do something different, to take action, even when you weren't sure of the outcome, was the step that changed everything. It was the act of moving, no matter how small, that led to the transformation. You don't need to understand everything before you move forward. You don't have to have all the answers. The first step is enough to begin your journey, and that's the power of the first step. It's not about rushing. It's not about getting everything perfect. It's about deciding that you won't stay stuck. It's about doing something, anything, to break free from that feeling of paralysis. The simple act of moving forward, even if it's just an inch, is what will set everything else into motion. When you're standing still, everything feels impossible. But when you take a single step, you change your perspective. The world starts to shift. You gain clarity with every movement you make. That's the secret. The path becomes clearer once you start walking. I know it's not easy. I know it's hard to find the courage to step forward when the future feels uncertain and the obstacles seem insurmountable. But this is the moment that matters. You can choose to freeze in fear, or you can take that first step, trusting that the next one will come when you need it. And here's something powerful. You won't be the same person after you take that first step. It may feel small, but it's the beginning of a massive shift. The moment you decide to act, to move, you're already changing. You're proving to yourself that you are capable of handling what comes next. You're proving that you can trust yourself, even when the road ahead is unclear. You see, it's not about having everything figured out before you move. It's about moving, no matter how small, and trusting that each step will take you closer to where you need to be. That first step might seem insignificant in the grand scheme of things, but it's the step that gets you moving. It's the step that breaks the cycle of fear and hesitation. The mountain you're facing, It's not just one giant thing to conquer. It's a series of small obstacles that, when you take them on one by one, are much more manageable than you first thought. And with every step you take, you'll start to see the progress. It won't feel like you're standing still anymore. You'll feel the momentum building. You'll see the mountain shrinking in front of you. And when you look back, you'll realize that the most important step was the one that felt the hardest, the one where you decided to move. Because that first step, no matter how small, changed everything. It was the beginning of something new, the beginning of growth. You don't need to know everything. You don't need to see the whole path. All you need is the courage to take that first step. Even when the future feels uncertain, it's that step that will lead you to where you need to go. It's the step that matters. So take it, move forward, even if it's just 1 inch. That's all you need. One step at a time. You know that feeling. The one that weighs you down, presses against your chest like a 100-pound stone. The moment when life knocks you down and you wonder how much more you can take. Everything you've worked for, everything you've hoped for, seems to crumble into dust. And all you can do is stand there, paralyzed, helpless, desperate for the storm to pass. It feels like the struggle is something to be avoided, something that only brings pain and frustration. But what if I told you that what you've been running from is the very thing you need? We live in a world that tells us to avoid struggle at all costs. We are taught to fear pain, to avoid rejection, to sidestep failure. It's like we're all in this race to reach the finish line of happiness and success, as if there's a place where we can escape the hardships of life. We think that if we could just get through this one obstacle, everything would be easier. If we could just avoid the discomfort, the struggle, we would finally be at peace. But the truth is, the struggle is not something to run from. The struggle is not the enemy. It is the crucible in which we are forged. It's in the mess of life, in the chaos, in the moments of deepest pain and fear, that we are shaped into who we are meant to become. The struggle isn't something that breaks us. It's something that transforms us. It's the fire that purifies us. And it's in that fire where we find our true strength. We've been conditioned to see the struggle as something to avoid, to fear. But in reality, it's in the struggle that growth happens. It's the very challenges we face that give us the strength we need to keep going. Without the struggle, without the fight, we would never discover how deep our resilience runs, how much more we are capable of than we ever imagined. You might be thinking, how can I embrace something that hurts so much? How can I welcome the pain and the fear? It's simple, really. It's all about perspective. What if instead of seeing the struggle as a curse, you saw it as a blessing in disguise? What if instead of asking, why is this happening to me? You asked, what can I learn from this? The moment you shift your perspective, the moment you choose to see the struggle, not as an obstacle, but as a tool for transformation, you begin to tap into something greater than yourself. You realize that the fight you're facing isn't meant to defeat you. It's meant to mold you, to sharpen you, to push you to become the person you were always meant to be. You see, strength doesn't come from avoiding hardship. Strength comes from looking hardship in the eye, refusing to back down, and deciding that no matter how hard it gets, you will keep moving forward. You might stumble, you might fall. But with every step, with every ounce of effort you put into getting back up, you become stronger. You become more capable. The more you fight, the more you grow. And that growth, that is what will carry you through the hardest times of your life. There's this misconception that success and happiness are the rewards for avoiding pain and struggle. But that couldn't be further from the truth. The real reward comes in the struggle itself, the strength that comes from surviving, from pushing through, from coming out on the other side. That's the real prize. That's the transformation. You've been through hard times before. You felt the sting of rejection, the pain of failure, the loneliness of feeling like the world is against you, and you've survived. In fact, you've come out stronger, wiser, more capable than before. That's the power of struggle. It forces you to grow in ways you never could have if life had been easy. It forces you to confront your fears, to face the parts of yourself that you'd rather ignore. And through that process, you become someone new, someone who has the strength, the resilience, and the wisdom to handle whatever comes next. But it's not just about surviving. It's about thriving in the struggle. It's about deciding in the face of pain that you are not going to let it define you. Instead, you're going to let it refine you. You're going to let it show you who you really are, what you're really capable of. Because the truth is, you are more capable than you give yourself credit for. The struggle is not here to break you. It's here to remind you of your strength, to help you uncover parts of yourself you never knew existed. It's time to stop fearing the struggle. It's time to stop seeing it as a punishment and start embracing it as a teacher. Because every single hardship you face is an opportunity to grow, to learn, to become the person you've always been meant to be. The sooner you embrace that, the sooner you will unlock the power that has been inside of you all along. Think about the person you are today. Think about the challenges you've already faced and how far you've come. You've fought battles that you didn't think you could win, and yet here you are standing stronger than before. The person you've become is not the result of an easy life. The person you've become is the result of your struggles, your battles, your pain, and you should be proud of that. You should be proud of the strength it took to get here. So when the next struggle comes, don't run from it. Don't shy away from it. Don't hide in fear. Instead, welcome it. See it for what it truly is, an opportunity for growth. Because the person you are becoming needs the struggle to thrive. And with every hardship, you're becoming stronger, more resilient, more capable than you ever thought possible. It's time to stop fearing the struggle. It's time to embrace it, to step into it, to face it head on, knowing that it's not something that will break you, but something that will build you. You are stronger than you think, and with every step you take, you are growing. Keep going, keep embracing the struggle. Because the power, the strength, and the transformation you're seeking are all waiting for you on the other side. And when you finally look back, you'll see that everything you've been through has led you to this moment. The moment where you've become someone who not only survives the struggle, but thrives in it. It feels like the world is against you. It feels like every step forward is met with an unexpected pushback. You've tried and tried, only to find that the path you're on isn't as smooth as you hoped. You set a goal, work hard for it, but when you finally reach out for it, it slips through your fingers. It's frustrating, it's discouraging, and it's easy to think that every failure, every setback is a sign that you're just not meant for this. But what if I told you that the struggle isn't a sign that you're failing, but a sign that something greater is happening behind the scenes? What if the things you can't see, the failures, the delays, the obstacles, are actually the forces shaping you into someone capable of achieving what you thought was impossible? Right now, you're looking at the surface. You see the obstacles. You see the hurdles. You see the failures. And you think that's all there is. But that's not the whole picture. There are forces at work beneath the surface, weaving together a path you can't yet see. Every disappointment, every setback, every single hardship is an unseen thread tying you closer to your breakthrough. It's easy to get lost in the frustration of the moment, to feel like everything you've worked for is crumbling. It's easy to believe that if you can't see the path, if you can't see the results, then it's all for nothing. But what if the path is already being built for you, piece by piece, and you just don't know it yet? The invisible forces are at work in ways you can't always understand. You might not see them, but they're shaping the very circumstances that are bringing you closer to what you want. Behind every failure, there's a lesson. Behind every setback, there's a shift happening in the universe, moving you toward the things you're meant for. Think about it for a moment. How many times have you looked back at your life and realized that the hardest moments were also the ones that taught you the most? The times you felt lost or defeated were actually the moments that were preparing you for what came next. You couldn't see it at the time, but in hindsight, you see how everything connected. Right now, you may not understand why things aren't working. You may feel like you're spinning your wheels, trying your hardest, but nothing seems to break through. But trust this, the work is happening, even when you don't see it. There's a force, a hand, at work behind the scenes, lining things up in ways you can't predict. You might not understand it yet, but everything is moving toward your growth, your breakthrough, your success. Even when it feels like you're stuck, you're not. You're being moved into place, one invisible step at a time. This doesn't mean it's easy. It doesn't mean the pain and frustration go away. But it does mean that everything you're going through is part of a greater plan that you can't always see. The setbacks, the delays, the detours, they're not there to punish you. They're there to prepare you. It's hard to trust that something is happening when you can't see the results. It's hard to believe that you're being shaped for greatness when all you can see is the struggle. But think of the greatest moments in your life, the times when you thought things were falling apart, only to find that they were actually falling together. Do you remember a time when you thought you couldn't go any further? When you thought the struggle would break you, but somehow you kept going? You didn't know it at the time, but something inside of you shifted. And in that shift, you began to move closer to your purpose, closer to your dream. The forces at work in your life right now are doing something similar. You can't see them. You can't always feel them, but they're shaping you in ways you'll understand later. The struggles you're facing, the challenges you're fighting, they're the raw materials for the version of you that's about to step into your true power. It's not always about the destination. It's about who you become while you're on the journey. The unseen forces aren't just changing your circumstances, they're changing you. They're testing your resolve, strengthening your heart, and teaching you lessons you would never have learned if everything went perfectly. They're molding you into the person who can handle the success, the breakthroughs, and the achievements that are coming your way. The path might be winding. It might be messy. But it's a path that's taking you to exactly where you need to be. Even when the progress feels invisible, even when the results seem distant, know that you are moving forward. Trust that every setback is laying the foundation for your breakthrough. Trust that every failure is simply redirecting you, guiding you towards something even better than you imagined. You don't need to see everything to trust that it's all coming together. You don't need to know the end result to believe in the process. The forces that are shaping your journey are real. They are working for you, even when it feels like nothing is moving. You are being prepared. You are being crafted into the person who can rise to meet the challenge. And one day, when you look back, you'll see how every single piece fit together, how every unseen force played a part in getting you to where you are meant to be. So in those moments when you feel lost or uncertain, remember this: there is more going on than meets the eye. The work is happening, even when you can't see it. Trust the process. Trust the unseen forces that are guiding you. They are leading you exactly where you need to go. And one day, you'll realize that everything you've been through, everything you've struggled with, was all part of the plan to bring you to this moment. This is not the end. This is the beginning of something incredible. There's a weight you carry, isn't there? That constant pressure to keep everything in your life perfectly aligned. You plan, you strategize, you obsess over every detail, convinced that if you can just control it all, if you can just make everything happen the way you want it to, then you'll be at peace. But instead, you find yourself exhausted, frustrated, and more anxious than ever. You keep trying to hold on to everything, to grip the reins tighter, and yet, the harder you try to control it, the more it slips through your fingers. You're fighting an invisible battle, trying to force life to bend to your will, and it's draining you. The world doesn't stop for your need for control. It doesn't slow down when you need certainty. And yet there you are, relentlessly trying to make everything fit into the box you've created in your mind. It's a constant struggle. And despite your best efforts, things don't always go the way you want them to. But here's something you need to hear. You can't control everything. The truth is, the more you fight to control the uncontrollable, the more you're holding yourself back from the peace and freedom that life has to offer. Peace doesn't come from control. Peace comes from letting go. Now, I know that sounds terrifying. Letting go of the reins feels like handing your life over to chance, to uncertainty, to the unknown. It feels like giving up. But it's not about giving up. It's about releasing the need to hold everything together with sheer force. It's about trusting that the current of life will carry you exactly where you need to go, even if you can't see the whole journey ahead of you. You've been taught to believe that control equals security. The tighter you grip the wheel, the safer you are. But the more you try to control, the more you're resisting the flow of life. You can't predict the future. You can't dictate how people will respond to you or how things will turn out. Life doesn't work that way. And yet, you keep fighting against the natural course of things, using up all your energy, burning yourself out in the process. Let's face it, control doesn't make you strong. It makes you anxious. It ties you to a version of reality that is constantly shifting, constantly changing, and you can't keep up. The more you fight for control, the more you isolate yourself from the very flow that can guide you toward peace. And when you're always fighting, you're never fully present. You're too busy worrying about what's next, too caught up in trying to manage every possible outcome. But here's where the shift happens. When you stop fighting, you stop exhausting yourself. When you let go of the need to control, you open yourself up to something more powerful, something deeper. You start to flow with life instead of against it. You stop seeing every challenge as something to conquer and start seeing it as something to navigate. Life is no longer something you're wrestling with. It becomes something you're learning to dance with. Imagine that for a moment. No longer fighting for every little detail. No longer fearing the unpredictable. Instead, embracing what comes. When you let go, you stop forcing and start becoming. You stop trying to control everything around you and start surrendering to the process, trusting that things will unfold as they are meant to. Letting go of control doesn't mean you stop caring. It doesn't mean you give up on your goals or your desires. It means you stop believing that your way is the only way. You stop holding on so tightly thinking that if you don't, everything will fall apart. The truth is, life will unfold whether you're clenching your fists or relaxing your grip. The difference is that when you let go, you allow life to flow to you instead of against you. The first step to releasing the need for control is acknowledging that you are not in charge of everything. There are things in life you simply cannot control, no matter how hard you try. People will disappoint you. Plans will fail. Circumstances will change. And that's okay. It doesn't mean you've lost. It means you're learning to trust. When you finally let go, you'll notice a shift. You'll stop feeling like you're constantly running a race you can never win. Instead, you'll feel lighter. You'll feel freer. Because when you stop trying to manage every detail, you create space for new opportunities, new experiences, and new growth. And that's where the magic happens. You can only truly grow when you release your grip on the outcome and open yourself up to the possibility of what might come next. But here's the thing. Letting go isn't easy. It's one of the hardest things you'll ever do. The fear of uncertainty is real. The fear of failure, rejection, and disappointment is real. But the truth is, holding on to control only feeds those fears. The more you try to control, the more those fears consume you. So take a moment right now and ask yourself, what are you trying to control? What parts of your life are you clinging to? Afraid that if you let go, everything will fall apart. And then ask yourself this, what would happen if you allowed life to unfold? If you trusted that you are exactly where you need to be, even without a detailed roadmap? The moment you begin to release control, you'll feel a wave of peace wash over you. That peace doesn't come from knowing the answers. It doesn't come from having everything figured out. It comes from the simple act of trusting yourself, trusting the process, trusting life. You've spent so much time fighting, holding on, trying to make everything fit into a neat little box. And look where it's gotten you. Drained, frustrated, overwhelmed. Now imagine what could happen if you just let go. Imagine what your life could look like if you allowed yourself to flow with life instead of against it. The truth is, the world isn't meant to be controlled. It's meant to be experienced. And when you stop fighting to control every little thing, you start to experience it fully. You start to move through life with ease, with trust, with an open heart. You are not meant to fight your way through life. You are meant to live it, to flow with it. The moment you let go of control is the moment you start living, really living. And when you do, you'll see that the peace you've been searching for was never outside of you. It was always waiting for you to release the grip and surrender to the beauty of life as it is. It's time to let go. It's time to trust. It's time to stop fighting and start flowing. And when you do, you'll find a power that's greater than any control you could ever have. You'll find the power of surrender. You're tired. You're exhausted. And there's a voice inside your head that keeps telling you to quit, to walk away, to just give up. You've been fighting for what feels like forever. You've given everything you have, and still, the results don't come. It's hard to keep going when it feels like you're stuck in the same place, running on empty, pouring your heart and soul into something that seems so distant, so unreachable. And the worst part, no one seems to notice. You look around, and it feels like everyone else is making progress, succeeding effortlessly, while you're stuck. You're doing the work day after day, and yet it seems like the world is indifferent. There's no applause, no recognition, no big breakthrough in sight. And in those moments, it's easy to think that persistence isn't working. But here's the thing. Persistence isn't loud. It doesn't always come with applause or fireworks. It's not the big dramatic gesture that everyone sees. No, persistence is the quiet, unrelenting force that pushes you forward, even when no one is watching, even when you feel like you're getting nowhere. Persistence is the quiet strength that keeps you going day after day, even when it feels like nothing is changing. It doesn't always look like success. It doesn't always come with instant gratification. But persistence is there in the small moments, in the hours you spend working alone, in the decisions you make when no one else is around. It's in the times when you don't feel like it, but you get up anyway. It's in the days when you don't have the energy to keep pushing, but you do it anyway. And that's where the real power lies. See, everyone talks about success. They talk about the big wins, the breakthroughs, the shining moments that come after all the hard work. But the truth is, those moments are built on something quieter, something that doesn't scream for attention. The persistence that happens in the shadows, in the solitude, in the moments when you're not being celebrated. That's where real growth happens, because no one sees the struggle. No one sees the pain of showing up when you don't feel like it. No one sees the hours spent working behind closed doors, when the world is asleep, when you're not getting the recognition you think you deserve. But that's the work that matters. That's the work that builds your character, your strength, and your resilience. There are days when you'll want to give up. Days when it feels like nothing is changing, when it feels like you're pouring everything into a black hole and nothing is coming back. But this is where persistence comes in. It's not about seeing immediate results. It's about the act of showing up, the act of continuing, the act of moving forward no matter how small the steps seem. Every little effort, every ounce of energy you put into what matters, even when you can't see the fruits of your labor, is a victory. Every moment you keep going, even when you feel like it's pointless, is a step closer to where you want to be. And one day you'll look back and realize that all those quiet, unnoticed moments were the ones that made the difference. We live in a world that celebrates the loud, the dramatic, the fast results. But real change, real progress, isn't always visible. It's often a slow, steady burn that no one can see but you. It's the willingness to keep going, even when the world seems indifferent. The power of persistence isn't in the grand gestures. It's in the quiet, consistent action. It's in the way you continue to fight even when no one is watching. You may not see it now, but those small steps you're taking are adding up. They're creating momentum. They're building something inside you that is unshakable. Because the truth is, the only way to fail is to stop moving. If you keep going, even in the quiet, even in the absence of applause, you will reach the place you've been working toward. No one talks about how hard it is to stay in the fight when you can't see the finish line. But that's where true strength lies, in the ability to keep fighting when the odds are against you. In the quiet, unspoken persistence that no one can see but you. And when you finally reach the place you've been working toward, when you finally achieve what you've been striving for, it won't be because of one big dramatic move. It will be because of the persistence that kept you going when you wanted to quit, when you felt like no one was watching, when you thought you weren't making any progress at all. You are stronger than you think. Your persistence is building something greater than you can see right now. Every quiet moment you put in, every time you push through when you feel like it's not worth it, you are laying the foundation for something bigger. One day you'll look back and realize that it was those quiet, consistent moments that made you who you are. So don't give up. Even when it feels like no one notices, even when you feel like you're not getting closer, keep moving, keep pushing, keep showing up, even when it's hard, because the quiet strength of persistence is what will carry you through the hardest times. And that strength, built day by day, will be the foundation of your success. Keep going. You feel it, don't you? That heavy weight of uncertainty, the feeling like you've been stuck in the same chapter of your life for too long. It feels like the pages are turning slower, that the plot has stalled, and you can't see how the next chapter could possibly get any better. You've been through so much, endured pain, loss, failure, and sometimes it feels like the best parts of your life have already been written. The highs and lows, they've left scars, but you've kept pushing through. Yet deep down, you wonder, is there more? Or are you doomed to just keep reliving the same story over and over again right now? In the middle of all this, it's easy to think that your current chapter is the end. The doubts you feel, the struggles that never seem to end, make you question whether there's even a purpose to all this. You wonder if you're capable of finishing this story with the kind of ending you've dreamed about. You've been through so much, so many obstacles, and it feels like you're running out of strength to keep going. But let me tell you this, your story isn't over. It's still being written. You're only in the middle. You're in the messy, complicated part of the story, where everything seems uncertain and the end feels far out of reach. But here's the thing, every great story has a middle like this. The heroes don't rise without facing the darkest moments, without feeling lost and uncertain. And right now, you're in the middle of your own great story. The chapters that seem difficult, the moments of doubt and fear, they aren't the end. They are the turning points. They are the moments that will shape the person you are becoming. You are the author of your life. The pen is in your hands, and the pages ahead of you are blank. The current chapter may feel like a struggle, but it is not the end of your story. You have the power to turn the page. You have the power to decide that this chapter, no matter how dark or uncertain, is not the final word. The best parts of your story are still ahead. They are waiting for you. Right now, it might feel like you've been stuck. Maybe you've been trying so hard to force something to happen, a dream, a relationship, a goal, and nothing seems to fall into place. You faced rejection. You faced failure. You faced loss. And each of those moments has tried to convince you that this is the end. But the truth is, those moments are only shaping the plot. They are the defining moments that will make your breakthrough that much more powerful. Think about the greatest stories. The heroes don't just have smooth roads ahead of them. They have to fight through trials. They have to face their own fears and weaknesses. The struggles are what give the victories their meaning. Without the dark chapters, the bright ones wouldn't shine as brightly. The story that feels hopeless right now, the one where you can't see the way forward, is not the conclusion. It is part of the transformation. So what if instead of seeing where you are as the end of your journey, you see it as the place where everything shifts? What if you realize that the pain and doubt you're feeling right now are just parts of the story that have yet to reveal their true purpose? What if, right now in the middle of the struggle, you could pause for a moment and realize that the story isn't over? It's just getting started. The key is understanding that this chapter, however dark or painful it feels, is temporary. You are not stuck. The next pages are coming, and they have yet to be written. You have the power to keep turning them. The transformation you seek, the peace, the success, the joy, they're all still ahead. The most powerful part of your journey is about to unfold. But it requires patience. It requires trust. Trust in the fact that you are the author, and that no matter how much the current chapter weighs you down, the future chapters hold your growth, your success, and the fulfillment you're striving for. You are writing this. You're in charge of how this story plays out. You might feel like you're not moving, like things aren't progressing. But trust me when I say this, you're growing. The quiet moments, the ones where you feel stuck or defeated, are the moments that shape your resilience. You're not losing ground. You're laying the foundation for something better. Your story is not defined by the struggles or the setbacks. It's defined by how you rise after every fall. It's defined by how you keep going, even when you can't see the end. You're in the middle of a story that is still unfolding. The pain, the doubt, the uncertainty, they are not the final chapter. They are the necessary steps that will lead you to your victory, your breakthrough, and the life you've been dreaming of. Think about it. All the best stories have dark chapters, painful moments, and times when the hero doesn't know how they're going to make it. But those dark chapters don't last forever. They pass, they evolve, and eventually the story turns toward triumph. Your story is no different. This is not your ending. This is just the beginning of the transformation that will take you to places you've never imagined. So, let go of the fear that this is the end. Let go of the pressure to have everything figured out. The best parts of your life haven't even arrived yet. You are not done. Your journey is still being written. Every step, every moment is bringing you closer to the person you were always meant to become. You are not stuck in the middle. You are becoming. You are growing. And when you look back, when you finally turn that last page, you'll see that everything you've been through, every hardship, every setback, was all part of a much bigger, much more beautiful story. The best parts are still ahead. You're not at the end. You're right in the middle of your greatest chapter yet. And that, my friend, is where the real story begins. It's hard, isn't it? The weight of what you've been carrying, the guilt, the pain, the regrets. It's like an invisible chain that keeps you anchored to a past you can't change. You try to move forward, but every step is heavy, as if the past is holding you back, pulling you into the darkness of what once was. It's exhausting. It's suffocating. And yet you keep holding on. Not because you want to, but because it feels safer, familiar. Letting go feels like losing control, like losing a part of yourself. But here's something you need to hear. Holding on is what's truly keeping you stuck. The past is over. The mistakes, the failures, the moments that still haunt you, they don't have the power to control you unless you allow them to. You've been clinging to them, carrying them with you, as if they define you. But they don't. The pain you're holding on to, the regrets that replay in your mind like a broken record, they're not making you stronger. They're weakening you. They're keeping you stuck in a loop where the same emotions, the same struggles continue to define your days. And that's not the life you deserve. The truth is, letting go is not weakness. It's the ultimate form of strength. It takes an immense amount of courage to release what no longer serves you, to face the fear of uncertainty and trust that something better awaits. Letting go is not about forgetting, and it's not about erasing the past. It's about freeing yourself from the hold it has on you. It's about choosing to move forward instead of being anchored to the pain of yesterday. Right now, I know you're scared. The thought of releasing the past feels like you're giving up a part of yourself. You may think that letting go means you're losing control, that you're allowing the things that hurt you to win. But in reality, it's the opposite. The strength lies in the release. The moment you let go, you're no longer a prisoner to what happened. You're no longer bound by the mistakes you've made, the wrongs that were done to you, or the things you can't change. You're setting yourself free. And in that freedom is where true power lies. It's hard to see it right now, but by holding on to that past pain, you're only limiting your future. The weight of those memories, the mistakes, you're still beating yourself up for. They're blocking the space for new opportunities. They're clouding your vision of what's possible, keeping you stuck in a cycle of self-doubt and regret. When you choose to release that weight, you're clearing the path for something new. You're creating room for growth, for healing, for the future that you deserve. Letting go isn't just about releasing the past. It's about allowing yourself to grow. It's about understanding that who you were in the past doesn't have to define who you are today. The mistakes, the pain, they don't make you weak. They don't make you broken. They make you human. They teach you lessons. Yes, but they don't have to be your prison. Your true strength comes from the ability to look back, acknowledge what you've been through, and choose to step into the future with a clean slate. And what's easier said than done. I know that part of you feels like you're betraying yourself or your past if you let go. But the truth is, holding on is the betrayal. You are betraying your own future by staying tied to what no longer serves you. And you deserve more than that. You deserve to be free. You deserve to stop carrying the burden of everything you've been through. You deserve to move forward without the weight of your past holding you back. Imagine for a moment what your life could look like if you let go of the regrets that keep you up at night. What if you released the anger, the fear, the hurt, and gave yourself permission to move forward without looking back? What if you stopped letting your past mistakes define your worth? Stop letting what's behind you control what's ahead. The possibilities would be endless. Your future is waiting for you, but it can only come into focus once you let go of the past. You don't have to forget. You don't have to erase the pain, but you can choose not to let it control your every move. You can choose to heal. And healing comes from the decision to let go. It's not easy. It's not quick, but it's worth it. You are worth it. Right now, I know it feels like letting go is too big of a step. Maybe you feel like you're not ready, but here's what I want you to understand. You don't have to be fully ready to let go. You just have to start. Start with one small step. Start by forgiving yourself for the things you've been carrying. Start by accepting that you can't change the past, but you can shape your future. Start by giving yourself the freedom to move forward, even if it's just a little bit at a time. Every small step you take toward letting go is a step toward a brighter, more peaceful future. Every time you choose to release the pain, the guilt, the anger, you are choosing a life of freedom. You are choosing to step into a new chapter, one where you are no longer defined by what you've been through, but by who you're becoming. And when you look back, you'll realize that letting go wasn't about losing something. It was about gaining everything. You'll see that the pain, the fear, the regrets, they were just holding you in place. They were stopping you from moving forward, from stepping into the person you were always meant to be. You are stronger than you think. And the moment you let go, you'll realize just how powerful you truly are. Because the greatest strength comes not from holding on, but from letting go. And when you do, you'll find that the life you've been dreaming of was always waiting for you. You just had to free yourself to embrace it. Let go. And watch how your life transforms.